Welcome back, BOFE community. Thank you guys so much for joining me for another vlog. In this vlog today, we are going to talk about how my seedlings are doing, the ones that I planted on February 2nd. And I'm also going to share with you guys, if you had a chance to watch my last video, I shared a little challenge that I was going to do. And I asked you guys to leave down in the comments below which one you think was going to work out the best, right? So in that challenge, I ended up sowing some onions and cilantro, right? Started my seeds for them, and I did it a set in the freezer bag, and I also did a set and just placing the seeds directly in the soil, putting it under the grow light, and I wanted to see which one was going to germinate first. So I'm going to give you guys an update on what happened with that. I wonder. Make sure you guys stay tuned for that. Also in this vlog, I'm going to just share with you guys some things that you can do in the month of March, especially if you are in Ohio area or zone 6A. Some things that you can do to prepare your garden for as we enter into the spring season. I'm super excited about it. We did get some snow here. I'm so over the snow, you guys, but I know that it will all be over with soon, as March is that transitional month for us, and truly we begin to see, a little bit of spring. So I'm super excited about that, and I'm super excited to just get my hand in the soil and start cleaning out my outdoor garden and preparing for the season to come. So let's dive into today's content. Let's chat about the seeds that I sowed on February 2nd. I did some collard greens, I did winter choy, I did some onion seeds, and I did it in the freezer bag method. So make sure you check out this video posted here, and the link will also be below as it walks you guys through how I did the freezer bag method, and then how I took the seeds that germinated in the freezer bag method and put them inside of their seed cells. I learned a lot through this process. I do believe everything is thriving. One of the beautiful benefits of growing your own seeds or starting your own seeds is, first, it's going to save you money. But it's just a beautiful process to be able to put the seed in the soil and nurture it and watch it grow and thrive. One reason, because I got some people that was like, oh, it's a little too early in Ohio to start your seeds, which is absolutely right. Typically, you would not start seeds in Ohio until March, right? However, because this was my first time doing it, I figured, why don't I start some of those winter hardy crops first? It gives me an opportunity to sow some seeds, kind of learn from the experience, so that when March does come around, I'll already have a great idea of what I may need to change, or what I may need to do differently. And it just gave me opportunities just to learn the process. And while I was learning the process, I'll also have an opportunity to be able to reap the early spring benefits of these plants, right? Reap the harvest of them. So let's talk about the spinach. That is doing really, really good. I have this one here that the seed is still on there. I don't know. It said that it would fall off, so I'm just kind of watching it. They are doing really well. All of these have true leaves on them. So I don't know if you can see, like here is the true leaves forming on these. So I actually, within the next week and a half, I will be taking them out of the seed cells and placing them into a bigger container, so that they can continue to grow and their roots can continue to grow and expand and produce even more. So these are doing really well. These, again, are the spinach, which spinach is one of those crops that you definitely want to do early to reap the benefits from the cooler weather. They don't really like the hot weather. The next one I did was onions. My onions are doing really good. So as you can see here, they're all sprouted. They're all growing. This one here actually has its true leaf there. And then there's another one forming on this side as well. So my spinach is doing good. I'm actually getting ready to give these a good water. I noticed that I'm having to water my seedlings at least twice a day so that their soil doesn't dry out. And almost the evening water time. I try to keep record of when I'm watering them. So if the soil looks a little dry, that's because it's time to water the seedlings for the evening. The next one we have is the winter choy. These are doing amazing as well. They're growing. As you can tell, the winter choy is not as leggy as the other ones, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that in a second. But the winter choy are doing amazing. This one here actually has a true leaf forming, and then the other ones don't have a true leaf as of yet, but I'm very pleased at their growth, and I'm sure within the next week, 2 weeks, the true leaves will start to show, and I'm excited about that. The winter choy is actually a bok choy variety. This variety is just going to be cold hardy. It's going to be frost hardy, right? It's going to love the cooler temperatures. And even when I go to put these outdoors, probably end of March through April, as we're still going through that huge transition, like we could possibly get snow in April, we could possibly get those cooler temperatures in April, this will be able to survive it. The next one I have is collards, you guys. Now, I've lost a couple collards along the way. I had all of these seed cells planted in, and this one in particular, I only had 2 that survived, but they're thriving and they're doing great. So this one, you can see it does have a true leaf. Here's the true leaf. It's growing beautifully. I'm actually going to be transplanting this into a bigger pot probably next week. And then this one is thriving as well. I also have another collard just to kind of show you guys. I lost one here, but I have 3 left. And inside of here, like this plant also has a true leaf forming. This one has a true leaf forming. This one not yet, but that's okay. So again, all the seedlings are thriving. They're doing good. For my very first time doing this, I'm very proud of the results so far. And so let's talk about what I did. So you guys know I germinated these seeds in the freezer bag, and I took them from the freezer bag and transplanted them into their cells. Now, originally I had them just sitting on top of my shelf. I had a grow light that was hanging, that was just sitting on like over them. And in the mornings I would get up and put them in my window, the sunniest window in my house, and I was watering them 2, sometimes 3 times a day. Then I ended up setting up another structure, which I'll be doing a video on very soon to show you guys what I did. And they are getting way better lighting now. Now, speaking of that, in result of the fact of me not having the good or better lighting in the beginning, some of my seedlings ended up being extremely leggy. Like you can see here with the spinach, how they're super leggy there. That is because they were searching and reaching for light. So you want to make sure that when you start your seeds indoors, you have adequate lighting. You want to have the lighting over the seeds, right? So that they can continue to grow and they won't be searching and getting super tall and super leggy. They'll be like the winter choy variety, like this, or even like the collard green variety. So that was one of the lessons that I learned, is that you have to make sure that you have great lighting so that your seedlings will not get leggy. Now, you don't have to have the grow lights. If you have a great window, or if you're in a different zone and you can utilize that good sunlight, by all means, that's going to be perfect. But I'm in Ohio. It's very dark and dreary still. We're still in winter. We're still getting tons of snowstorms, and the sun was like coming in every few days. It wasn't an everyday consistency thing. So I was like fighting against, the dark days, and I needed the better lighting. So we got that set up, and now everything is going and doing great. I did lose a few seedlings through this process. However, I think I didn't lose that many, and everything is on track and looking good. So that is the update for the seedlings. I'll continue to update you guys when I go to transplant this, or the collard greens and the spinach, and I'm probably going to leave the onions in the seedlings in the seed cells for a little bit longer. But when I go to transplant everything else, I will walk you guys through that video and show you guys how I'm going to do that and what I'm going to use for it. But right now, things are going good. I'm going to wait until some more true leaves form and they just get a little bit more mature before I transfer them over. So now on to the good stuff. Let's talk about, did the onions germinate first or did the cilantro germinate first? Let me go grab those for you guys and let's talk about it. All right, you guys, so before we talk about what seed germinated first, let's go over some things that you can be doing in the month of March to prepare for spring and getting your gardens ready to plant, right? So I have a long to-do list, but I'm going to just share some general things with you guys. If you are in Ohio and you're interested in sowing or planting sweet potatoes, it's going to be important that you go ahead and begin to start either order your sweet potato slips or start to grow your own sweet potato slips. So I actually have sweet potatoes that I went and got from the store. They're organic, and I will be showing you guys in the next video on how I'm going to use this sweet potato to grow my own sweet potato slip. Stay tuned for the next video because I will be showing you guys how I'm going to actually use this sweet potato, what I'm going to do to get it ready to grow some slips, and we're going to get them planted outside, or I'm going to do the sweet potatoes in the grow bag. So stay tuned for the next video. When it comes to your garden, you're going to want to, if you have an existing garden, you're going to want to get out there in the month of March and start pulling out anything that may have been left from last year that doesn't need to be there. If you didn't clean it out at the end of your growing season, you want to start to clean out your garden. You don't necessarily want to work with the soil too much as it's still really wet here in Ohio. But if it's not wet in your area, you're definitely going to want to go ahead and start working with your soil, start getting your amendments in it and preparing your beds, right? So for me, I ended up getting sick at the end of my growing season, so I didn't have an opportunity to clean my garden out. So I'll be going out there and pulling out the vines and different things that I need to get out of the ground. And start preparing the garden area that way. This year, I'm also doing an extension of my garden. I'm super excited about it. It's getting bigger, which I will share in more detail in another video. But with that being said, I will be mapping out my extension, and I probably will go ahead, because the ground is soft, I'll probably go ahead and put my post up for where I'm going to be where I'll have my fence in the month of March. But some other things that's going to be great for you to do is start looking into composting. Are you going to be composting? And if you are, figure out some ways that you're going to be doing that. Are you going to compost in a tote? Are you going to do something outside? You want to start thinking about that. Also in the month of March, it's going to be great for you to start to establish a source for you to be able to collect rainwater. So here in Ohio, we're getting ready to enter into a rainy season, right? April showers bring May flowers. So March, you're going to want to start preparing your rain collection. Like, how are you going to collect that? Are you going to use tubs? Are you going to use whatever system that you would love to do, which I'll show you guys a video on how I'm thinking about collecting rainwater, and that will be posted in the month of March, and I'll walk you guys through that. We did get some rain the other day, and I actually keep, let me show you. So I actually have these 5-gallon jugs that I was using as our drinking water. And I ended up taking 2 of them, and I don't use it as our drinking water anymore, and I just keep it for water for my plants. So what I did was, the other day when we had rainwater, I took a bucket outside and I let it fill up, and I transferred the rainwater into my indoor water containers. So that is the water that I use to actually feed or nurture my seed starts and my houseplants as well. So make sure that you're working on how you're going to collect some rainwater, because rainwater is the best water. You're going to want to think about your garden plan. You're going to want to think about companion planting. You're going to want to think about crop rotation. So last year I had a whole plan laid out. where I had my cucumbers, where I had my tomatoes, where I had my potatoes, where I had my peas and my celery and all that. So this year I'm rotating all that around. The reason why that you're going to want to make sure you're doing crop rotation is so that you can confuse the pests, right? If you leave everything where it was at the previous year, it's just like giving them a roadmap to say, oh, okay, I remember where them tomatoes was at, so I'm about to just go on right over there where the tomatoes is at. So doing crop rotation, it just confuses the pests. So you want to make sure that you're getting a head start on where you want to plant things. Also, when I do my crop rotation, I try to do things where I move it around, but still keeping companion planting in mind. So wherever you're going to put one thing, make sure you have something next to it that, you know, they enjoy each other's company. So think of companion planting when you're thinking of your garden plan and your crop rotation. You're going to want to start looking into pruning your fruit trees if you have any fruit trees. March is going to be a great month for that. You're going to want to, you can direct sow your potatoes, you can direct sow your peas in the month of March. You're definitely going to want to start your seeds indoor in the month of March. And I'm looking at my list. I have a big board on the other side here that has everything that I need to do in the month of March. And like I said, you're going to clean out your garden. Also, if you have any house plants, March is going to be the great month for you to go ahead and get those house plants repotted. Why? Because they're going to come out of their dormant season. As we're entering into spring, as we're entering into summer, our house plants grow even more during those months, right? So this is going to be the perfect opportunity to get your houseplants repotted so that they can get all that fresh soil. They got all that fresh room for their roots to continue to grow and thrive. So those are some tips that I can give you guys for the month of March, or some things that you can be doing to prepare for your garden season ahead. All right, so let's talk about what happened with the scallion onions and the cilantro. Now, on day three, you guys, I had, drum roll please, I had scallions that had already germinated. And not only did they germinate in the freezer bag, the scallions had also germinated in the soil. So you can see all the green there on day three. We are a week in, and this is what it looks like. Beautiful. Beautiful. So again, I believe I said 5. Yep. And all 5 of the seeds have sprouted in here. And I'm going to open this up just to show you guys, because I'm actually getting ready to go ahead and plant them as we are speaking. So the scallions germinated first, and then on day 6, because it's day 7, I had the cilantro do its thing. Literally, this was overnight. It was popping out, like you could see a little bit at the top, but this really big one in there was overnight. I woke up this morning like, what just happened? But let me show you guys the sprouts for the onions. And the paper towel is still really moist. And here we go. Look at that. So I'm going to get them transplanted. And then I'm also going to show you guys the sprouts for this cilantro. The cilantro paper towel is a little bit drier, and all of the seeds for the onions germinated. All of the seeds for the cilantro did not. So here's some of them, which you can see. This one, and this one germinated. These 2 have not germinated. And then on here, you can see both of these germinated. All right, let's go ahead and get these germinated seeds from the paper towel method into their seed cells that I'm going to be using. I'm going to use the bigger shells that I have, because I'm going to end up putting all of them in the one container. So you can put like anywhere between 5 to 8 seeds when you're thinking about doing like the scallions, and then you're going to want to do about 5 seeds for the cilantro. And because I only had 5 of them that sprouted, that's going to be perfect. And then I'll probably just the ones that didn't sprout, leave them on the paper towel method just a little bit longer and see if I can get them to germinate. So let's go ahead and do that. So if you watched my freezer bag method video, you see me transplant the collard greens before, but I'm getting ready to just do the same process here. So I like to just spray the soil just a little bit, and then you want to make your holes not too deep. And I have 5, so and then what you want to do is just be very gentle with the transplant for the germinated root there. I don't know if you guys can see that. And you just want to put it down in there. And if the root gets a little stuck to the paper towel, just spray some water. Again, you want to be gentle. If a little paper towel gets stuck to the root, it's okay. But you just want to be gentle. Make sure you get that root down in the soil. Look at this one. And then they're all in there. You're going to want to give it another generous spritz down. And they're good to go. And you always want to label so you don't forget. I'm actually going to put freezer bag on these, so I know that these came from the freezer bag. And let's do the same for the cilantro. Now these roots are not as big as the onions because, like I said, they took a lot longer to germinate. Well, this one is. This one is fairly long, but and then again, you're going to want to give that a good spritz. And you're going to want to put your label inside of it. So all of these are done. Let me quickly just give you guys an update on the other herbs that I planted on the 19th of this month. So we talked about the cilantro that I put in the containers versus the ones I did in the freezer bag and how well they're doing. We talked about the onions and how well the onions are doing it. Then I ended up doing parsley, but parsley is one of those herbs that just takes time to sprout. So I knew this one would take a bit longer. So these herbs that I'm sharing with you were also sowed on the 19th of this month. And so far, there's nothing for the parsley. I don't have any, or I have a very, very tiny you guys might be able to see it. Let's see. Let me see right here. Very tiny. I don't know if you guys can see it sprout there. And a very tiny sprout right there for the oregano. So that's good to know, but it's it's very tiny. And then I did chives, and so far nothing for the chives. I also planted or sowed some rosemary, and so far nothing for the rosemary. But you guys, I did basil, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All 6 of my basil seeds have sprouted. So I'm excited about that. So I'm going to go ahead and give these another good spritz down, and then I'm going to go take them back to the grow light and allow them to do their thing throughout the night. Alright you guys, well thank you so much for tuning in for another vlog. Please make sure that you continue to like, subscribe, and comment below what you guys are enjoying. If you have already started sowing some of your seeds, let me know down below what you are sowing. Also, make sure you stay tuned as the next video I'll be showing you guys how to get started in making or growing your sweet potato slips. That's going to be a very fun video, and then I will also do another update. Some other videos that we have coming up will be my grow light setup and where I have these seedlings at in my home. So I'm going to be showing you guys that, so stay tuned for that video. And then I have some other goodies coming. As the month of March unfolds, I'll be out in the actual garden preparing for the extension, working on where I'm going to put my containers. And I'm going to bring you guys along for that journey. So things will be picking up moving forward and as our weather change. So I'm excited. Until next time, you guys have an amazing evening, afternoon, morning, whenever you are watching this video. And make sure you stay blessed. Mwah.